I have some rules if you're gonna get some putty for me, okay? So if you take a look at this putty melts. So you have to make sure, you see it starts to melt? You have to make sure that when you exercise with it, do all your different exercises, that you make sure you put it back in its container when it's done. It melts, and you see it's gonna melt into the container. If you exercise on your bed or you forget and you leave it out, it's gonna just melt into the sheets. It's gonna melt into and just drool over the table. And when you are, you know, working with the putty or exercising with the putty, you want to make sure it's fine on the table. But if it touches your clothes, it can stain your clothes, or it could stick to your clothes. Or if it's, you know, those latex bracelets, it sticks to those. Or your watches, if it's a latex, it'll stick to that. So it doesn't stick to plastic, you see, but it does stick to latex. So you just want to make sure that when you're using it, use it on a table, and then you put it away in its container when it's done. The other thing is, oh, this is really important. If you if you are exercising, sorry, it's okay. We have a good time. And so when you exercise with this and you want to make it into a smaller piece, right? You're going to break it up. Don't just pull it and pull it, because it's just going to become string, okay? And then it's going to make a mess. So what you want to do, you want to break it in half. You want to pinch it, and then it won't. Oh, but if it touches itself, it's gonna stick again. So you have to pull it and pinch it off again. That way you separate it.
Or just
So
pull it really
no, if you pull it really fast, it's just gonna keep pulling and keep
you can just go
pulling.
like that.
And
that didn't
tell me
work.
again. Yeah.
It worked last time.
So just
It
pinch
worked
it.
last
Just
time.
pinch it. Just pinch it. It's just, some people are like, but I can't pinch it. I can't. Just use your nail a little bit and pinch it. Okay. Now, if you don't have nails, everyone has nails. You can do what she says, which is pull it really. It didn't work for me. Pull it really fast.
Did you use scissors?
No scissors. Well, you technically you can, but it's really not that serious.
Oh, okay.
So, all right, those are the rules, okay? But remember, putty melts, and it will melt everywhere and make a mess. So when you're done, let's put it in its container. And the lid is just, so this is a funny story. Someone put their putty back in its container, but didn't put the lid on. Your putty is not gonna dry up if you don't put a lid on it. But what happened? She tipped it over, and guess what? It started to melt out of the container, and she had it on the shelf, and she was sleeping, and the putty just dripped into her hair. I'm telling you true stories. So, and that's why I'm telling you, so you don't do that. And then, you know, someone else that got putty, I told them, don't exercise in the bed, because you might fall asleep and it's gonna stick everywhere. And sure enough, he didn't listen to me. He exercised in bed, and then he just fell asleep and let the putty, he actually tucked it underneath the pillow and fell asleep like a baby. When he woke up the next day, he didn't know where his putty was. And it took him a month, which goes to show you, he didn't change his sheets very often. And the putty was all underneath the pillow, between the pillow and the sheets, and it had melted everywhere. So, back in its container.